Hi everybody, my name is Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food with Keto Under 20. How do I know it's under 20? Well, the way I know it's under 20 is that I am tracking. I have that structure and discipline and necessity of tracking everything. Otherwise, how would I know that I'm under 20? Could there be a more obvious part of looking at your macros than carbs and the carb creep? If I was your food/keto sponsor and you said to me, I'm not losing any weight, what's wrong with me? I'm doing keto under 20, and I'm saying, are you tracking? Are you snacking? Because those two things to me are where we begin when we're keto under 20. Every time you put something in your mouth, your insulin spikes. And when your insulin spikes, you are taken out of fat burning mode until that processes through. What is insulin? It's sugar in your body. So even if you're snacking on a keto-friendly item, you could be spiking your insulin and it's game over for a while. And I'm not a scientist. I don't know how long it takes to regain what that spike did in your body working through it. But the whole idea of eating less, if you listen to Dr. Berg, if you listen to Dr. Jason Fung, then you learn all kinds of things about the insulin spiking. And snacking is the first thing that you might look at. Now, what we've got is snacking after dinner and then the nighttime eating habit. So sometimes you have a food, sometimes you have a habit, and both of them are keeping you from where you want to go on the scale. Because let's face it, no matter how many people say, forget the scale, throw it out, we still look at it. I did today. I weighed myself. There was a loss. I'll take it. Humidity's back. I expect to gain a little bit of water inside my body. It's happened every year. I'm 66 and a half now. I don't think that the summer of the 67th year is going to be any different. But the bloating effect will certainly be different with keto under 20. So, if you're doing on keto under 20 and you're not tracking, really? Isn't that like putting on a blindfold and driving? How do you know where you're going? How do you know what you need to sometimes focus on? I did a podcast recently on the chronometer, and one of the things you can do is you can tap onto the vitamin or the mineral or the carbohydrate or the fat, and it shows you where everything comes from. It is so fabulous, and it's free, or you can upgrade. But if I hit onto the carbs to see where those carbs are coming from, it will show me exactly. And as I was getting used to it yesterday, I use organic romaine lettuce in my salad. And so an Earthbound brand came up and it said romaine mix. So I hit on that. Well, it's got 2 carbs more in the 150 grams that I put in the base of my salad versus the 150 grams of romaine only. So I could see that spelled out. So there's a difference right there. And my first day of seeing the total carbs right there in my face with this new chronometer is that it registered 25 grams instead of the 20. So that one strawberry left. And then I changed up the romaine mix for the straight romaine leaves, and I lost the 2 carbs there. So that got me back to 20 or less. And so you don't know unless you know. So if you think you're doing keto under 20 and the scale isn't moving, which is, our first indicator, no matter what we think or feel, then you really, you've left the wine zone because you're not tracking. Does tracking take time? You bet. Does going to a new program take time? You bet. I spent the afternoon yesterday watching tutorials to see how to do this new program. And it even has a keto place that you press the button. And so, and I don't know if I went over what they recommend, if it would like, alert, alert, alert. But they've got all kinds of different colors when you're in the green zone, the yellow zone needing more, the red zone you've got too much. And it just, wow. You can even put in your supplements and your vitamins to get true readings. So you can be as geeky and detailed as you want. But I'm just asking my viewers, the smartest people I've ever seen, the most structured people I've ever seen. But if you're structured for everything but tracking, try it. Spend the weekend donating some time, investing some time back into you. You're shopping with Keto Under 20 in mind. You're eating with Keto Under 20 in mind. Don't be assuming that you're missing some of those ghost carbs. One person asked me about chewing gum. For those of you that have been with me for a while, you know I was a huge gum chewer. And I think I did a whole podcast on gum chewing. And I showed you the 10 different types of gum that I have on hand. This one for that time of the day, this one for another time of the day. And each chiclet or stick was 1 to 2 carbs. I wasn't counting it. And yet I was saying, Keto Under 20. Well, if I was having 10 of those a day, there's my 10 to 20 carbs that didn't even get registered, right? So I was already misguided in my tracker. And now I am down to Velament, which is a chiclet type gum that I get at Trader Joe's. One of them has less than 1 carb, and I have half of one 5 times a week. Because that's when I'm sitting in a meeting. That's the deal. I put a piece of gum in my mouth, and I don't chew it, because I could look very cow-cutty if I do. I kind of stick it in my gum, kind of as a breath freshener for the hour. And that's it for the day. I use my toothbrush when I get home. I use my toothbrush when I'm at work. I use coconut oil to release some of the bacteria which causes bad breath. I put a note on the coconut oil to take my tablespoon of that on my walk so I can do some, and every day I forget it. So after this podcast, I will put that tablespoon of coconut oil in my mouth. It's called oil pulling. Google it if you have any interest in it. You don't swallow it when you're done. You spit it out. And so if you're not tracking and you're still snacking, those could be the biggest causers of stalling in your goals and achievements. Just saying. I just bet, that if you gave next week a whole week of tracking and a whole week of not snacking, that you might see some differences. I'm just saying. I know what had to work for me was giving up things. And as I've said in previous podcasts, nighttime eating is one of the biggest bears that you might have to tackle. And there's no way to tackling it than to tackle it. And my logic always said, well, if nighttime eating is such a problem and you switch to carrots and celery instead of, say, a yogurt and a cottage cheese and a 100-calorie snack pack, and you call that a snack, to me that's like a meal, right? A carby meal, a standard American diet meal, because the yogurt's flavored and artificially flavored and artificial everything. And the Breakstone cottage cheese has carrageenan in it. So, and that's a topic for another podcast, Alma. Keto Meets Menopause. I love you. So, there's so many levels that you can take your keto plan. Because to me, it's a health plan for life. It's not just until you lose the weight for the 4th of July. reunion or wedding or something, it is a way of eating where it's like, boo-hoo, you can't have it. You already had your quota. That's how I look at it. I've already had my quota of wedding cake, of potatoes, of sodas, of all kinds of things like that. Breads, subs, chips. I've already had my quota. I'm 66. I was at the trough for decades, just pounding all those things. So my keto way of eating under 20 is my lifestyle now. Just like not drinking. And how do I treat that? I give it an hour a day at a meeting, face to face with other people, listening. So I treat my keto under 20 the same way. I track my food. I'm willing to devote the time to learn my Cronometer, free at Cronometer/Mercola.com. I do a podcast. There's 15 minutes of that hour of devotion, and I spend a whole lot more time, actually, with it. I'm fortunate that I'm down to working part-time now, so I do have the time, but it's important to me to regurgitate what I hear to you, because you viewers are busy. And so if I can parrot what somebody has said and put my spin on it, my Sarah spin on it, with a smackdown every now and then and a Sarah school every now and then I feel that's what I want for this channel. I don't want it to be all bells and whistles and fancy graphics and everything else. I want it to be your 10 to 15 minutes in the morning, maybe, with your cup of bulletproof coffee, maybe, your bulletproof tea, maybe, watching and saying, okay, here's my dose. Now I'm good to go. Because, stuff sticks and stays. It does. There could be a time later in the day when you're buying that 20-pack of gum and you go, I wonder how many... Are you kidding me? It's got that many in it? And I have it 4 or 5 times a day? And I'm sitting there telling people I'm keto under 20? Are you kidding me? Or I'm snacking. Well, it's just 2 squares of chocolate before I go to bed. Hello, spiking your insulin. And I don't think it's going to make you sleep more sound. Do your research. That's what I always like to end every suggestion with. Do your own research. I don't know your body. I don't know what it's doing. I know what has caused me stalls. I know what has caused me frustration. I know what would happen if I didn't track every day, if I didn't have my measuring cups and spoons, my kitchen scale, my, what else? Oh, my tracker, and my being accountable and responsible to you guys. If I was saying one thing and doing the other, like snacking or nighttime snacking, or I wasn't tracking but I was pretending to you I was, well, how genuine and authentic would I be? So I try to do the do so I can say the say, right? I walk it so I can talk it, and I hope that you can too. Any tweaks that you make, if you're stalled, just hear me out. Try 1 week of, first of all, weigh yourself at the beginning of the week and at the end of the week. Okay, none of this every day jumping on the scale. And track and no snack. And see where you are at the end of the week. How you feel, what the scale says, how you now understand that a habit can be as bad as a food item. Okay? A nighttime eating habit can be as bad as having a sub with chips and a diet soda and a cookie at lunch from Subway. And if you've done the work and you understand what I'm saying, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. And don't buy dairy products with carrageenan in it. There will be a podcast to follow. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food with Keto Under 20. And boy, do I know the details now with my Cronometer. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye for now.